Um, I don't know if you can hear the music anymore. Just gonna make it a little louder. Oh, that's too loud. You know what? Keep it a certain level. Then mess around here. Maybe? Yeah, that works. Hi. Why is the YouTube one not working? I'm about to be so pissed, bro. No, let me fix this. Oh, there we go. There we go, there we go. You guys are here, you guys are here. Hello, Prince. Burst chatter. Everywhere. Hi, Winter. So what curses will we enjoy today? Hope all is good. The curse today. Also, hello, Hugo. The curse today was that I am terribly sick. And by sick, I mean it's that time of the month, so I'm going through all sorts of physical shit. Tummy pain, headache. The tummy pain is mostly gone, but it's slightly there, and it's just, at this point, it's honestly just annoying more than anything. But all that aside, I want to mention a few things, a few mandatory stream stuff. I've got the drinks today. I've got water, I've got cranberry juice, and I've got Mulder, have you showered? No, I haven't. What are you gonna do about it? And I've got Monster. I've got the Doctor flavor Monster. Stinky Cat. Yeah, hi Oro. Welcome. Yeah, I am very stinky. I am so stinky that I smell like a rotting corpse, and you should probably not be near me. I'm just saying. So I'm going to run for the mountains, not gonna lie. Alright, buddy. Alright, buddy. Sure. But yeah, I've got the Doctor for Monster. I've also got this one chocolate that I'm going to have. That's not exactly a chocolate itself. It's like a date that's like covered in chocolate, and there's an almond inside it. I don't fucking know what this shit is, bro, but this is like good. It's so good. So yeah, Creepypasta streams seem to be extremely cursed for some reason. Something or the other happens. Wow. Something or the other happens all the time. And it's gotten to a point, I think it's gotten to a point where we just have to expect not good shit happening before streams. I'm chewing the candy, sorry. First isn't even a joke at this point, just I think you guys may have. I think you guys may just have put a curse on me, because I remember the first or second time this shit happened, people were like, haha, hee. And that just kept happening. And on Creepypasta streams specifically. Yeah, it happens on other streams too. But this creepypasta shit has it's like gotten out of hand. So yeah. Let me go see what creepypastas we had in queue. Because there were a bunch. I've read Jeff the Killer. I haven't read Laughing Jack. I've read Slender Man. I've read what have I read, bro? I think I was gonna read Eyeless Jack. Yeah, I'm gonna have to make a list of shit that I've gone through already. I think I've only read Jeff the Killer and Slenderman. I'm going to go through Eyeless Jack today. And Laughing Jack. Because I've heard of Laughing Jack, but I do not know what the story is. I have absolutely no clue of what the story is. I am really interested. Hi, John. Welcome. Oh yeah, I should probably start doing like, um, Jeff and Slendy. Yeah. I should probably start doing the shout out stuff that I used to do. Uh, if I can read and type, that would be really cool. Yeah, please go follow John. Watching his streams is very entertaining. Like, I can't explain how many times, twice, I've had them on in the back while I'm doing other shit, and it's yeah. Please go follow them. Please go follow him. Very fun guy. Um, I don't know if your subathon is still going on, but if it is, people should go support. Uh, yeah. I'm bad at these, okay? I'm bad at these. I'm gonna put this aside. Why is this fucking cord so tiny, bro? Okay. Um. We will get our spook on and the universe has to deal with it. Yeah. Jeff and Slendy, yeah, so Jack today. Two Jacks today, actually. Actually, I'm here for the creepypasta while I clean my default. Okay. Oh shit, I have to do a good job now. I can't be fucking around today. Ah! Shit, there is a responsibility. No! I'm genuinely glad you're here. Thank you so much for dropping by. Um, let's see. Creepypasta. If creepypasta. I can't sign up for the latest creepypasta. No. Okay. I don't know if this is gonna make me sound like I get scared easily, which I do, but fucking, you know the image of Momo that's been going around, or that was going around for a good while? Yeah, I can't fucking stand it. I fucking hate it. It terrifies me. It's terrifying, okay? And I don't care what other people have to say about it. Let's start with Isla's Jack. You know, if I could actually type, that would be so cool. because you know, it's nice to be able to type. There's laughing Jack. There we go. Eyelash Jack. January 5, 2013. Shit's old. Monster, thank you so much. Thank you so very much. Hold on, let me open this shit. I wanted to go for a very citrusy flavor today. Oh, that's so good. And this can is kind of fucked up, so I brought a separate glass with me too, just in case. Oh, and thank you for the stretch. I'll do it in one moment. Just give me one moment. Okay, the rest I can drink from the can. Please, please, please close. Please don't explode on me. Please, please, I swear to God, please. Please don't explode on me. Please don't explode on me. Please don't explode on me. I swear to God, please don't explode on me. These plastic fucking cups that like, this shit scares me, bro. Like where you take the lid off and whatnot. Yeah. Okay, cool. This can stay here. Hi Salvia, welcome. Boo spooky time? Yeah, spooky time. Hi Mista, welcome. Typing is nice. Momo is creepy, avoided it for ages before it found me. It was going around so much. It was going around so much that there was no way for me to avoid it. People just kept posting it and reposting it to the point where I was forced to look at it at every turn. Quisto! Hi! Hello! Welcome. Oh, yes. Yes. I'm doing the thing today. I'm doing the shout out thing today. Crystal Caves, yes. Oh, are we talking about the statue called Momo? There's a statue? What did Twitch blur Pookie for me? Oh, you know, disgusting. What? What, shouting you out? Hush up. Cry about it. OBS? Can I do the thing, please? Main, yes. If I could locate things in OBS. Yes, this is what I want. Oh, it's gonna stay here. I hope this is okay. Oh. No, it is not okay, actually. Hold on. Okay, better now. Miss Venom, I did something stupid. What did you do? Yes, it's the statue that started the meme and urban legend of Momo. I do not. Do I want to look at it? No. Random person with a pic of a creepy ass bird woman statue will text random people. Momo is so fucking scary. Momo is. I don't want to think about it. Anyways, and forced them to play the Blue Whale game that was basically a suicide. I remember the Blue Whale game. Holy shit, I remember the Blue Whale game. It was on the news and shit. The Blue Whale game, yes, I remember. I remember it was like going around a lot. And my mom was terrified. Apparently, yeah, people did do the undying, unaliving after playing it, and I still don't know what is in the game itself. But as far as I've heard, I had classmates who played it and they were fine. And apparently they were like, oh yeah, it just kind of like provokes you into doing things. Apparently, I don't know, man. Completely forgot about Blue Whale. Bro, I forgot about Blue Whale too. Shit's insane. Anyways, let's move on to the actual reading before I fall too sick. Um, move this around a little bit. Famous beings and entities. Famous creepypasta. Monsters, creatures, and cryptids. Eyeless Jack Creepypasta. Eyeless Jack drawing. Eyeless Jack fan art. Eyeless Jack mask. Eyeless Jack origin story. Eyeless Jack original story. Eyeless Jack story. 9 minutes of reading. But it says 6 minutes of reading. Insane. This is terrifying. I wake up and I see this shit, I would just kill myself. In game, in Minecraft. Is this like the mouth? Because I see it like this is the face. But if this is like the mouth, that's even worse. You wake alone in your room, disturbed by some noise close to your bed. At first, when you open your eyes, all you see is darkness and black. You stare straight up and listen, straining your ears to pick up the faintest and smallest of sounds. The sounds on the edge of hearing. The sounds of noise being withheld. Of something deliberately trying to be silent, to stalk and to hunt. Your eyes begin to adjust. You still see only darkness, but now, with terror, you begin to realize it is not the darkness of the room, but the dark, empty void staring out from the hollow eye sockets of the thing leaning over your bed. This bitch, bro. I want this room, though. This room looks sick. Ugh. This is like shit, like explanation. There we go. Hello, my name is Mitch. I'm here to tell you guys about an experience I had. I don't know if it was paranormal or whatever stupid words people use to describe supernatural phenomena, but after that thing visited me, I believe in that paranormal trash now. A week after I moved in with my brother Edwin, after my house was foreclosed, I finished unpacking. Edwin liked the idea of me moving in, since we had not seen each other for 10 years, so I was excited too. Thank you so much for the follow, Annie. Annie Deluxe, thank you! Not me trying to find you, realizing Twitch bugged and didn't follow you. Hey, thank you so much for the follow. Can people not be so loud? Anyways, I was making noodles and I poured the boiled water from the kettle into a bowl with the noodles. Boiled water from the kettle into a bowl with the noodles. The bowl fell. My wrist and back of my hand got burnt. It's like if you got sunburned and bruised your arm at the same time. I did that a week ago now. It looks worse than when it did. It hurts to touch it. Goldie Pop, you sent me a picture of it. What do you mean you did something stupid? Like you're telling me some new story. The last one is jumping off a building. Interesting. Never mind. For gaming great yet. Today's fun fact is the original Eyeless Jack image is a distorted image of a Slipknot member's mask. That is... Why is that so funny to me? Don't end yourself. End him. Punch! Just want to come in and say hello. I can't watch. Hello, Donut. Thank you so much for dropping by. But I'm ignoring my message. I'm going to it. Crystal, go see a doctor. Yeah, I really think you should go see a doctor, Crystal. Hi, Farrah. Welcome. Venom keeps ignoring me. Oh my god. Oh, it looks worse than a lot worse. You want a photo of it now? Yeah, sure. Slipknot mentioned peak. Real? Yeah, sure. Send me a picture of it now. Jeez. Uh, you're so needy, Crystal. So needy. Um, anyways. I soon fell asleep after I moved in. After that first week, I heard rustling noises coming from outside at about 1 in the morning. I thought it was a raccoon, so I ignored it and tried to fall asleep. The next morning, I told Edwin about it, and he agreed. The next night, however, I thought I heard my window opening and a loud thump as if something entered my room. I darted up and looked around my room, but I saw nothing. The next morning, Edwin dropped his coffee cup when he saw me. He held up a nearby mirror, and I saw myself. I had a large gash in my left cheek. After I was rushed to the hospital, my doctor told me that I must have been sleepwalking. But then he showed me something that made my blood turn cold. He lifted my shirt to reveal a sewn-up incision where my kidneys were. I stared into his eyes, mine widening. You somehow lost your left kidney last night, my doctor told me. We don't know how, though. Sorry, Mitch. Fuck. The next night was my breaking point. Around midnight, I woke up to see a truly horrifying sight. I was staring face to face with a creature with a black hoodie and dark blue mask with no nose or mouth staring down at me. The thing that scared me the most was that it had no eyes. Just empty black sockets. The creature also had some black substance dripping from its sockets. I grabbed a camera from the nearby mantel and took a picture. Immediately after taking the shot, the creature lunged at me and tried to claw open my chest to get to my lungs. I stopped it by kicking it in the face, and I ran out of my room. I grabbed my wallet. I would need the money. I ran out of my brother's house into the night. I eventually ended up in the woods near Edwin's house and tripped on a rock. I fell unconscious and woke up in the hospital. My doctor, the same one who treated me before, entered the room. I have good news and bad news, Mitch. My doctor started. The good news is that you had minor injuries and your parents are going to pick you up. I sighed with relief. The bad news is that your brother has been killed by some thing. Sorry. My parents took me back to Edwin's house to collect my remaining belongings, which I did. Upon entering my room, I was scared but remained calm. I grabbed my camera and then stopped dead in my tracks. In the hallway leading to my room, I saw Edwin's body and something small lying next to it. I retrieved it up and entered my parents' car, not mentioning Edwin's corpse. I looked at the thing I had picked up and nearly vomited. I was holding my half-eaten kidney with some black substance on it. Interesting. The idea of these organs being stolen for consumption is not as true cannibal stories. Okay. Man. Twitch just stopped working. Twitch, just let me watch in peace, please. Twitch chat at its best, for real. I only know Slipknot because there is a video of the band playing Martin because of the song. Ow. I sent you what it looks like now. Let me go see. Oh God. Girly Pop, are you okay? Are you okay? Yeah, no man stole my kidneys. I'm having it. So he was Eyeless Jack, yep. I'm not gonna lie, that's not what I expected out of the whole thing. I don't know. I expected something completely different. I guess I expected something similar to Jeff the Killer, but not exactly the whole origin story where, you know, he went to a kid's birthday party and then shit happened. I'm off to see something at some point with a friend. Ooh, I hope you enjoy. Enjoy a little bit for me too, because none of the bands I like come to my city. So, but in fact, my parents said I was being a wuss when it happened, and now my dad is like, oh yeah, that could have done permanent damage. Too late to go now. What the fuck? I expected more story. Yeah, same. But that's fucked. That is fucked. I don't like your dad. I don't like your family, bro. I've mentioned this before. I don't like your family. I'm just saying. So that was Isla's Jack. Tell that to my. Alright, texting him right now. I hate your girlfriend's family. Like, what? Anyways, yeah, I really hope you move out. No, don't text him. Why? He's at work. Okay, well now I'm definitely texting him. Where is this bitch? There he is. I don't like your girlfriend's family, bro. Yeah. 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 Oh, for fuck's sake. So that was Isla's Jack. Let's move on to Isla's Jack. We were also wanting to read Laughing Jack, right? Let's see. Laughing Jack, yes. Why he kinda why he kinda sorry. December 19th. Beings and entities, children and childhood, deaths, murders, and disappearances. Famous creepypasta months. I love reading the tags. Slashers and gore. Torture and cannibal. Jesus. Children, creatures, that's entities, kids, Laughing Jack, creepypasta story, Laughing Jack origin story, Laughing Jack original story, Laughing Jack story, monsters, murders, torture. 11 minutes of reading. 8.97 out of 10. Alright. Oh, someone's gonna say some shit to me because I'm gonna get a text from him going, why did Venom send me this? Let me know what happens after that. Hey, my favorite creepypasta. No, don't thirst over a Jack in the Box. But he kinda Laughing Jack versus Eyeless Jack. A jack. A jack off, if you will. Creatures entities. AO Dead by Daylight mentioned. A jack off. I'm crying, bro. There is no way you just. Hello, welcome. I still don't know what to call you. I'm gonna call you 13. Hi, 13. Welcome. Oh my god, we should read creepypastas together. You sure about that? You sure about that? I remember this one time me and Crystal were looking at hot anime men, and I started looking up. I had a search that was Jeff the Killer sexy art. I remember when I was looking for images of creepypastas for the thumbnail on YouTube, I I looked up Jeff the Killer and that was the first thing that showed up, and I was like, there is no way. I tweeted about it, I'm pretty sure. But that is an insane thing to, oh my, yeah. Yeah. Winter, you almost killed me with the Slasher and gore, yo, Ghostface Production. I was drinking, almost choked laughing. It's pretty funny. It's pretty fucking funny. Anyways, it was a nice summer day. My 5-year-old son James was playing outside in the backyard of our suburban home. James has always been a quiet boy. He plays by himself mostly. He never had many friends. But he had always had a wild imagination. I was in the kitchen feeding our dog Fido when I heard what sounded like James talking to someone in the backyard. I'm not sure who it was he could be talking to. Could he have finally made a friend? Being a single mom, it's hard for me to always keep an eye on my son, so I decided to go outside and check on him. When I went into the backyard, I was a bit confused, because James was the only person back there. Was he talking to himself? I could have sworn I heard another voice. James, it's time to come inside. I called out to him. He came inside and sat down at the kitchen table. It was about lunchtime, so I decided to make him a turkey sandwich. James, who are you talking to out there? Oh my fucking god. James, who are you talking to out there? I asked. James looked up for a moment. I was playing with my new friend, he said, smiling. I poured him some milk and continued to pry as any good mother would. Does your friend have a name? Why didn't you ask him to have lunch with us? I asked. James stared at me for a moment before replying. His name is Laughing Jack. I was a bit taken aback by what he said. Oh, that's a strange name. What does your friend look like? I asked, a bit confused. He's a clown. He has long hair and a big swirly cone nose. He's got long arms and baggy pants with stripy socks, and he always smiles. I realized my son was talking about an imaginary friend. I suppose it was normal for kids his age to have imaginary friends, especially when he has no real kids to play with. It's probably just a phase. It's not a phase, Mom. He's actually my boyfriend. The rest of the day went by as per usual, and it was starting to get late, so I put James to bed. I tucked him in, gave him a kiss, and made sure to turn on his nightlight before I closed the door. I was pretty tired myself, so I decided to go to bed not long after. I had an awful nightmare. It was dark. Actually, wait, hold on. Oh, Venom, do you know Valorant? Well, of course you know Val. Do you also know Alien Stage? I don't know Alien Stage. I don't know what you're talking about, girly pop. If you two are left alone, you'll end up talking about the female chest area. We did talk about boobs when we were in VS. Yeah, this is a canon event, by the way. This is actual lore. This is actual real lore, if I could speak. We, every time, just about every single time, me and Crystal have hopped on voice call, we've 100% have had a talk about boobs. Every single fucking time when me and her are in voice call alone, we're like, oh yeah, boobs. It's like a thing we always talk about. Yeah, and I wasn't there, unfortunately. Yeah, titties. Boobs are 16 plus? Yeah, I'm just using the word, nothing else will be said. I come back to say I got jump scared, and I just see chat. Lore time. Yeah, me and Crystal always talk about boobs. Damn, I wish I had someone to talk about boobs. Yes. Yes, you do. So let's read the nightmare. It was dark. I was in some kind of rundown amusement park. I was scared, running through an endless field of empty tents, broken down rides, and abandoned game huts. The whole place had a horrible look to it. Everything was black and white. The prized stuffed animals all hung from nooses in the game huts, all with sick grins stitched on their faces. It felt like the whole park was looking at me, even though there wasn't another living thing in sight. Then suddenly I began to hear music play. The sounds of Pop Goes the Weasel being played on a squeeze box echoed through the park. It was hypnotizing. I followed its tune to the circus tent, almost in a trance, unable to stop my legs from moving forward. You want to say hi to chat? My sister has come home. I followed this tune to the circus tent, almost in a trance, unable to stop my legs from moving forward. It was pitch black. The only light came from a single spotlight shining on the center of the big top. As I walked towards the light, the music slowed down. I found myself singing along, unable to stop. I don't fucking know how the song goes, I'm not gonna lie, so I don't know how to sing this. Can I not? Okay. I don't know how to sing this. I don't know how this song goes. I'm gonna be so honest, bro. Have a great rest of the stream, everyone, and good rest for your day also. I'm also okay. Monster, thank you so much. Thank you. Comes in by Eunice for a titty. Have a great rest of the stream. It's not a phase, Mom. I'm emo and I listen to shit bands from the Midwest. Hi, Venom says, everyone saying hi to you. Everyone's saying hi to you. You don't know the music box song? I don't know the music box song. I'm about to finish my first panel. Hi, welcome back. Ven sister. Venster? Venster is insane. Yeah, my sister. I really don't know the song, so I'm not gonna try and sing it. The music stopped right before its climax, and suddenly the lights shot on. The intensity of the lights were practically blinding. All I could see was a small dark silhouette shuffle towards me. Then another one appeared, and another, and another. There were dozens of them, all coming toward me. I couldn't move, my legs were frozen. All I could do was watch as the haunting figures drew nearer. As they got closer, I could see they were children. As I looked at each one, I noticed they were all horribly disfigured and mutilated. Some had cuts all over their body, others were severely burnt, and others were missing limbs, even eyes. The children enveloped me, clawing at my flesh, dragging me to the ground, and tearing inside me. As the children tore me apart and I faded away, all I could hear was laughter. Horrible, awful, evil laughter. I woke up the next morning in a cold sweat. After taking a few deep breaths, I looked over and saw... Bro. Has Soviet done a fun fact yet? Yes, he has. I lost track images of the story image of Slipknot members, but yeah. I had one about horses. You could still give it to us. Like, you could still send it. What fact is it? Is it the one that their feet are, in reality, their toes? Cat? Did I hear a meow? 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 No, everyone's saying meow now! Look what you did! No, that wasn't a cat! That was my sister! She has the same illness as me. It sounded like a cat. No, that was my sister. Everyone is meowing now. Yeah. Morse code. But putting meowing and purring. Hi, Billion Plate. Everyone saying meow in chat now. Ah. Anyways, I woke up the next morning in a cold sweat. After taking a few deep breaths, I looked over and saw that a few of James's action figures were positioned facing me on top of my nightstand. I sighed. James had probably woken up early and put these here. I gathered up the toys and made my way to James' room. However, when I opened the door, James was sound asleep. I just shrugged and placed the toys back into his toy box and headed out to the living room. A little while later, James woke up. Oh my god. A little while later, however, when I opened the door, James was sound asleep. I just shrugged and placed the toys back into his toy box and headed out to the living room. A little while later, James woke up and I made him his breakfast. He was quiet and seemed a bit groggy. Perhaps he didn't sleep well either. I decided to ask him about the toys. James, honey, did you put the toys in Mommy's room this morning? His eyes shot up at me for a moment and quickly glanced down at his cereal. Laughing Jack did it. I rolled my eyes and responded, well, you tell Laughing Jack to keep the toys in your room. James nodded and finished up his breakfast, then decided to go play out in the backyard. I went to relax in the living room, and I must have dozed off because I woke up a couple hours later. Shit, I need to check on James. I was a bit worried. It had been over 2 hours and I haven't checked on him. I went, stepped out into the backyard, but James wasn't there anymore. I was getting nervous, so I called out to him. Uh-oh. Makes me think about the Sabrina Carpenter song. Yeah, his video. I do not know of the Sabrina Carpenter video you speak of. You should send it to me with the timestamp, please. I'm Spanish now. We are actually a fucking single-celled organism. Straight up, I can. James? James, where are you? Just then I heard a giggle come from the front yard. I rushed through the gate around to the front of the house. James was sitting on the sidewalk. I breathed a heavy sigh of relief and walked over to him. James, how many times have I told you to stay in the backyard? James, what are you eating? James looked up at me, then reached into his pocket and pulled out a handful of hard candies in all colors. This made me very nervous. James, who gave you that candy? James just stared at me, not speaking. James, please tell Mommy where you got that candy. James hung his head down and said, Laughing Jack gave it to me. My heart sunk. I kneeled down to look him in the eye. James, I've had enough of this damn Laughing Jack thing. He is not real. Now, this is a very serious situation and I need to know who gave you the candy. I could see my son's eyes tear up. But Mama, laughing Jack, did give me the candy. I closed my eyes and took a deep breath. James has never lied to me, but what he's telling me is impossible. I make him spit out the candy and I throw the rest away. James appears to be fine. Maybe I was just overreacting after all. He could have gotten it from Tom and Linda from next door, or Mr. Walker down the street. I make him spit out the candy. Oh, I read this. Either way, I'm going to have to keep a closer eye on James. That night, I put James to bed, as usual, and decided to go to bed early myself. Suddenly, I was woken up by a loud bang coming from the kitchen. I sprung out of bed and hurried down the stairs. When I got to the kitchen, I was horrified. Everything on the counters had been thrown on the floor, and our dog... I'm still unsure how to pronounce this. I'm going to say Fido. Our dog Fido hung dead from the light fixture. His stomach was cut open and stuffed with candy, the same type that James was eating earlier that day. My shock was quickly broken by a sharp scream coming from James's room, followed by loud crashes. I quickly grabbed a knife from the drawer and moved up the stairs with the speed that only a mother whose child is endangered could have. What kind of speed measurement is that, bro? YouTube chat, actual conversation, Twitch chat, meow. No, about the fact the way horsepower is measured, horses can have a maximum of 15 HP for short bursts, but usually have just 1 HP the way horsepower is measured. Horse-wise, if a horse can lift 33,000 pounds in 1 minute, it has... I do not understand any of this. There's some smart person should that... Send you the link, Pookie. I will look at it later. I actually didn't know how horsepower was measured. Thank you for the information. Why the dog? Fido. Interesting. Okay. I burst through the door and flicked on the lights. Everything in the room was knocked over and tossed on the floor. My poor son in his bed crying and shaking with fear. A pool of urine staining the sheets. I scooped my child up and ran out of the house and went next door to Tom and Linda's house. Luckily, they were still awake. They let me use their phone and I called the police. It didn't take them long to arrive and explain what had happened. They looked at me as if I were crazy. They searched the house, but all they found was a dead dog and 2 trashed rooms. The officer told me that someone had probably gotten into the house and done this right before making a quick escape when they heard me coming up the stairs. I knew it wasn't true. All the doors were locked and none of the windows were open. Whatever was in my house didn't come from outside. The next day, James stayed inside. I didn't want him to leave my sight. I went into the garage and found his old baby monitor and set it up in his room. If anything comes into it tonight, I was going to be able to hear it. I went to the kitchen and grabbed the largest knife from the drawer and put it on my nightstand. Imaginary friend or not, I'm not letting anything hurt my little boy. Soon enough, night came, and I put James to bed. He was afraid, but I promised him that I wasn't going to let anything happen to him. I tucked him in, gave him a kiss, and turned on the nightlight before closing the door and whispered to him, "Good night, James. I love you." I tried to stay up as long as I could, but after a few hours I felt myself drifting off. My baby would be safe for the night and I needed to sleep. Just as I lay my head on the pillow, I heard a soft noise come from the beam monitor I had put on my nightstand. At first it sounded like interference, like the kind a radio would make. Then I turned into a soft moan. Was James asleep? Then I heard it. The laugh from my nightmare. That horrible laugh. I sprung up from the bed and grabbed the knife from under my pillow. I rushed over to James's room and creaked the door open. I tried the light switch, but it wouldn't come on. I took a step in and I could feel the warm, thick liquid on my feet. Suddenly, James's nightlight came on and I could see the absolute horror laid out in front of me. Water? Thank you so much for the water. Hold on, give me one moment. My sister is dying. Girl, the speed a mother can move is faster than an Olympic It's okay. Faster than an Olympic runner. It's been told that mothers have been able to lift a car to save their child. I'm not kidding. Interesting. A mother's love for a child is insane. Mm-hmm. No, I agree. Poor pup, yeah. This mother after the dog. Just get the fuck out. That's only for measuring the horsepower of a horse. If you want to measure the horsepower of an engine, it's a different calculation. What you do is multiply. Man. The child got fucking crucified. Even worse, it got bloody go. Measuring. I am not reading this horsepower shit, bro. It's cooking my brain. Ew, math, right? James's body was nailed up on the wall, the nails piercing through his hands and feet. His chest was cut wide open and his organs hung down to the floor. His eyes and tongue had been removed, along with most of his teeth. I was disgusted. I could hardly believe this was my baby boy. Then I heard it again, the soft, desperate moan. James was still alive. My baby, my poor baby, in so much pain, barely clinging to life. I ran across the room and vomited on the floor, but my sickness was interrupted by a horrible cackle coming from behind me. I spun around while still wiping bile from my mouth. And then out of the shadows emerged the fiend responsible for all this horror. Laughing Jack. His ghost white skin and matted black hair hung down to his shoulders. He had piercing white eyes surrounded by dark black rings. His twisted smile revealed a row of sharp, jagged teeth, and his skin didn't look like skin at all. It almost looked like rubber or plastic. He wore a patchy black and white clown outfit with striped sleeves and long socks. His body itself was grotesque, his long arms hanging down past his waist. And the way he was poised made him look almost boneless, like a rag doll. He let out a sickening laugh, as if to let me know he was pleased with my reaction to his work. He then turned around slowly in front of James and began to laugh even more at the horrific sight he has laid out. That was enough to shake me from my terror. I snapped. Man, get away from me, you bastard. I rushed at the monster, raising the knife above my head and stabbed down at him. But as soon as the knife touched him, he disappeared in a cloud of black smoke. The knife passed right through and pierced James's still beating heart, splashing the warm blood on my face. No. What have I done? My baby. I killed my baby. I immediately fell to my knees and I could hear sirens in the distance growing louder. My boy, my sweet baby boy. I promised Mommy would protect you. but I failed. I'm sorry, James. I'm so sorry. Police soon arrived and find me in front of my son, still wielding the knife covered in my baby's blood. The trial was short. Insanity. I was placed in the... I do not know how to pronounce this. For the criminally insane. Where I have been for the past 2 months. It's not so bad here. The only reason I'm awake now is because someone is playing Pop Goes the Weasel outside my window. I'll talk to the orderlies about it in the morning. Man. That is... yeah. No, I don't want to play this. Can I please play this again? Okay. Get smarter, get learned. Go away from Jupiter. It will make you stupid. What the fuck? This sound like Killer Clown was like Killer Clowns from Outer Space. Hell of a movie franchise. Interesting. This fucker was both my bisexual and monster lover awakening. What a ride, huh? It is a tough read, but also I would like to mention, give me like 2 seconds. I want to, hold on. Laughing Jack. Images. Now tell me why he kind of fine. Like, terrifying. But kind of fine. Like, hold on. Let me pull this up. Put link in your tab. I'll tell you exactly why I think he's fine. That image is terrifying. But... is this the one? No. Firefox. Yeah, you look at this guy, right? Like, yes, he did murder a dog and a child. He's kind of insane. But also, I'm just saying, man, like, you get what I'm talking about? Like, I'm just saying. Creating incognito tab and enter Tumblr to search fan art. Why would I open an incognito tab? With this shit, I am so painfully shameless. Isn't a killer clown from outer space? Yeah, no. You killed a child. Hey, don't say that. Let's not say that now. Let's not enable any type of harm or murder. Cute laughing. Anime laughing check. You see what I'm talking about though, right? Like, what? Hello? Like? Hold on. I need to do something. sexuality. Hot fan. Hot fan art. Oh my god. I'm like, what? Hello? Oh, what? Like, I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry. I really apologize. I really do, but respectfully, would. Like I'm just saying, right? Hot cute creepypasta boys. Of course it's in Wattpad. Of course there's like a mix of Laughing Jack and that guy from Persona. I forget his name. Like, I'm sorry, but how am I supposed to like, I need this is good, but in a creepy way. Like, I like it. Like, he gives such emo boy vibes. Maybe that's the reason why I'm even like more a certain way. Anyways, anyways. No. Please go back to the... Please let me go back to the other window. There we go. How it makes most things hotter, it just comes with the territory. Yep. Yep, that is true. This is real. I could have joined the description would be horrific. Definitely. Just realized he's just L from Death Note, but dressed as real. I see the vision. Clown for crystal view. Can blowtorch. Would expect anything less from Vim than simply wood. Why is there a single image of Black Hat from? I don't know. Curse spins clown thirst. No. Hear me out. I'm not into clowns. No, not really. Laughing Jack though. You saw what I saw, okay? Like, I know I'm not alone in this. So don't even. Let me just close these Laughing Jack tabs. Um, happened. Um, let's see what else we can read. Hold on, let me look through the thing, see what people wanted me to read, or what just in general with the list I had. I've done Jeff the Killer, I've done Laughing Jack, I've done Slender Man. Let's do Tiki Topi. I still don't know the whole idea of what that is, and I'm honestly really interested. March 2nd, 2015. Squidward's interesting. Yeah, let's do this. No! Deaths, murders, and disappearances, famous creepypasta, slashes and gore, arson, arsons, creepypasta classics, crimes, deaths, castaway, mental illness, murders, serial killers, slashers, sociopaths, stabbings, Tiki Tobi, there's an anime, Tiki Tobi backstory, Tiki Tobi creepypasta, Tiki story, drawing, fan art, full story, castaway, origin story, original story, Toby Rogers. 24 minutes of reading, 9.10 out of 10. Oh, this is the writer's name. Interesting. 17 minutes. This is gonna be a long one. He gets the bat to his weird spiral. No. You aren't quite literally confessed laughing at with my awakening. Yeah, exactly. See? I'm not weird. Can you hear the cope in my voice? Oh, my thing gave up. This should last me a bit. Give me one moment, guys. I'm doing things. You're just surrounded by weird people. I ain't going anywhere, but I am judging. Don't judge, bug guy. Let's see. The long road home seemed to go on and on. The road continued to stretch in front of the vehicle endlessly. The light that shone through the branches of the tall green trees danced across the window in random patterns, and every once in a while, obnoxiously shining in your eyes. Obnoxiously shining in your eyes. So real. Sorry, I was checking something. The surroundings were full of deep green trees, forming a forest around the road. The only sound was the sound of the car's engine as it traveled down the path. It was peaceful and left a serene feeling. although the ride seemed like a nice one, it lacked every form of nice from its two passengers. The middle-aged woman behind the steering wheel had neat short brown hair that fit. One moment. Okay. Sorry. Sorry for disappearing. God, Ben. I like how the creepypasta reading always gets carried away. Like in the last one, we talked about Ben's job, and this one we had a bit of simping for a clown. Clown got her. The clown didn't get me. I'm fine. I'm right here. Like, also, listen, it was relevant to the thing, okay? Relevant to creepypastas. The middle-aged woman behind the steering wheel had neat, short brown hair that fit her complexion quite well. She wore a green V-neck t-shirt and a pair of blue jeans. Diamond stud earrings decorated each of her ears, which partially showed from behind her haircut. Don't tell me she has like the bob cut. I'm gonna start looking like Karen out here, bruh. Okay. Put this somewhere? Please don't fall. Yeah, tears don't fall. Okay, she had deep green eyes, which her shirt brought out, and the lighting seemed to make them more noticeable. There weren't anything significant about her appearance. She looked like any other average mother you would see on TV shows and the like. However, the one thing that made her different than the average mothers was the dark bag she had under her eyes. Her facial expression was gloomy and sad, although she genuinely looked like someone who smiled a lot. She would sniffle every once in a while and occasionally glance in the rear-view mirror to look at her son in the back seat, who was hunched over partially, with his arms held tight around his chest and his head pressed against the cold window. The boy lacked any normal appearance, and anyone would plainly see there was something wrong with him. His messy brown hair went every which way, and the luminescent lighting brought out his pale, almost gray skin. His eyes were dark, unlike his mother's, and he wore a white t-shirt and and scrub pants that had been provided for him by the hospital. The clothes he had worn before were so shredded and blood-stained that they weren't wearable anymore. The right side of his face bared a few cuts along with a split eyebrow. His right arm was bandaged all the way to the shoulder, which had been shredded when his right side hit the shattered glass. His injuries appeared to be painful, when in reality he couldn't feel anything. This was just one of the glories of being him. One of the challenges he had to face while growing up was growing up with a rare disease that caused him to be completely numb towards pain. Never before had he felt himself get hurt. He could have lost an arm and felt nothing. The other major disorder he had faced, which was the one that deemed him many insulting nicknames in the short time he attended grade school before he switched to homeschooling, was his Tourette's syndrome. That's where the ticky comes from, which caused him to tick and twitch in ways he couldn't control, which is what Tourette's syndrome is. He would crack his neck uncontrollably and twitch every once in a while. The kids would tease him and call him Ticky Toby, and they mocked him with exaggerated twitching and laughing. It got so bad he had to turn to homeschooling. It was too hard for him to be in a common learning environment with seemingly every kid poking, or more like stabbing, fun at him. Toby stared blankly out the window, his face empty of any emotion, and every few minutes his shoulder arm or foot would twitch. Every bump that the car tires hit would make his stomach turn. Toby Rogers was the boy's name, and the last time Toby remembered riding in a car was when it crashed. And that's all he thought about, unconsciously replaying everything he remembered before he blacked out over and over again. Toby had been the lucky one. His sister had not been so lucky. When the thought of his sister came, he couldn't help the tears that welled up in his eyes. The horrible memories replayed in his mind, her screaming that had cut off when the front of the car was smashed in. It all went blank for a moment, before Toby opened his eyes to see his sister's body, her forehead pierced with glass shards, her hips and legs crushed under the force of the steering wheel, and her torso pushed in from the too late inflated airbag. That was the last thing he had seen of his dear older sister. The road home continued on for what seemed like forever. It took so long to get home because his mom wanted to avoid the sight of the crash. When the surroundings gave way to a familiar neighborhood, they were both more than ready to get out of the car and step back into their own home. It was an older neighborhood with quaint little houses all next to each other. The car drove in front of a blue house with white window panes. They both quickly noticed the old vehicle that was parked in front of the house and the familiar figure that stood in the driveway. Toby felt automatic anger and frustration take over him at the sight of his father who wasn't there. His mother pulled the car up in the driveway beside him before turning off the engine and preparing to step out and facing her husband. "Why is he here?" Toby said quietly as he looked back at his mother, who reached open the car door. "He's your father, Toby. He's here because he wants to see you." His mother responded in a monotone voice, trying to sound less shaky. "Yet couldn't drive up to the hospital to see Lyra before she died." Toby narrowed his eyes out of the window. "He was drunk that night, honey. He couldn't drive." "Yeah, when is he not?" Toby pushed the door open before his mother and stumbled out onto the driveway, where he met his father's gaze before looking down at his feet with a stern expression. His mother stepped out behind him and met her husband's eyes before walking around the car. His father opened up his arms, expecting a hug from his wife, but she walked past him and put her arm around Toby's shoulder and started leading him inside. "Connie," her husband began in a raspy voice. "What? No welcome hug, huh? No welcome home hug, huh?" She ignored her husband's obnoxious words and walked past him with her son under her arm. Hey, he's 16 and can walk by himself. His father began to follow them in. He's 17, Connie glared back at him before opening the door to the house and stepping inside. Toby, why don't we get you in your room to rest, okay? I'll come get you when dinner is ready. No, I'm 16. I can walk by myself, Toby said sarcastically and glared back at his father before stumbling up the small staircase and turning into his room, where he slammed the door violently. His little room didn't have much in it. Just a small bed, a dresser, a window, and his walls had a few picture frames of his family. Back when they were a family, before his father became an alcoholic and acted violently towards the rest of his family. Toby remembered when he was arguing with his mom and he grabbed her by the hair and shoved her to the floor, and when Lyra had tried to break it up, he pushed her and she hit her back on the corner of the kitchen counter. Toby could never forgive him for what he did to his mother and sister. Never. Toby didn't care how much his father beat him down. He couldn't feel it anyway. What he did care about was how he intentionally hurt the only two people he cared about. And when he was waiting in the hospital where his sister took her last breaths, the only one who didn't rush there was his dad. Toby stood by the window and looked out at the street. He could have sworn he saw something out of the corner of his eye, but quickly blamed it on the meds he was on. When dinner time had come, and his mother called up to him, Toby came down the stairs and hesitantly sat down at the table across from his father, and between his mother and an empty chair. It was quiet as his parents picked at their food, but Toby refused to eat. Instead, he just watched his dad with a blank stare. His mother caught on to his staring and elbowed him slightly. Toby looked over at her slightly and then down at his uneaten food, which he still didn't touch. Toby laid in I think it should be bed. Toby laid in bed. He pulled his covers over his head and stared at the window. He was tired, but there was no way he would fall asleep. He couldn't. There was too much to think about. He had been debating on whether or not to follow his mother's directions and forgive his father, or continue holding a grudge with his boiling hatred. Personally, I would just hold a grudge, man. That's fucked. He heard his door creak open and his mother padded into the room and sat on the bed next to him. She reached over and rubbed his back, which had been turned to her. I know it's hard, Toby. Trust me, I understand. But I promise you will get better, she said softly. When is he going to leave? Toby said with an innocent tone in his shaky voice. Connie let her gaze fall down to her feet. I don't know, honey. He's staying as far as I know, she replied. Toby didn't respond. He just continued to look forward at the wall, holding his damaged arm near his chest. After a few minutes of silence, his mother sighed before she leaned in to kiss his cheek and stood up to walk out of the room. Good night, she said as she closed the door. The hours passed slowly, and Toby couldn't quit tossing and turning. Every time he let his imagination take over, he heard the screeching of tires, the screaming of his sister, and he would uncontrollably jerk in bed. He threw off his cover, and lying on his back, he pulled his pillow over his face and cried into it. He could hear his own pitiful weeping. He would have been screaming and crying if he didn't press his pillow over his face. Didn't you mean to say job? The clown won't get her, she isn't a kid. Real. That makes sense. Although she is as tall as... Wow. Green Eyes mentioned. Yeah. The thing that told her, apart from the rest of the mothers with bags under her eyes, I think, have you seen any first-time mother? Oh. Green Eyes, context, mister. Yeah. We hope his father gets what's coming to him. I can't winter, I'm gatekeeping. Don't gatekeep. Only I'm allowed to gatekeep here. Please, Mr. US. But yeah, in this house we don't forgive shit fathers. Yep. especially as long as I'm alive, we do not do that. We do not forgive shit for others at all. Illegal. After a few seconds, he threw the pillow off his face and sat up, hunched over, holding his head and breathing roughly, tears streaming from his eyes. He couldn't help but cry. He tried to keep it in, but he couldn't stop the whining and the whimpering as he sat there shaking. He inhaled before he stood up and walked around his bed to the window and peered out, taking deep breaths, trying to calm down. He rubbed his eyes and looked out at the group of tall pine trees across the street. He stopped suddenly, and his gaze slowly centered on something standing under the streetlight. He heard ringing in his ears and couldn't look away. The figure stood beside the streetlight, about 2 feet shorter than it did. Long arms draped at its sides as it stared up at him with non-existing eyes. The figure had no facial features to speak of, no eyes, no mouth, no nose, yet it held Toby's hypnotized stare, seemingly peering into his very being. The ringing in his ears grew louder and louder each second he stared, before suddenly it all went black. Next morning, Toby woke in his bed. He felt different. He wasn't tired at all, and when he consciously woke up, it felt like he had been lying there awake for hours. He had no thoughts flowing through his mind. He sat up slowly and stumbled over to the wall, but when he stood, he automatically felt dizzy. He stumbled to the doorway and walked down the stairs. His parents were sitting at the table. His father was tuned into the small TV that sat on the countertop, and his mother was reading the newspaper. She quickly looked over and when she felt Toby's presence looming behind her. "Well, good morning, sleepyhead. You've been sleeping forever," she greeted him with a hesitant smile. Toby looked over at the clock and noticed it was 12:30 p.m. "I made you breakfast, but it got cold. I was going to wake you, but I felt you needed sleep." Her expression fell from happy to worried as her son resisted responding to her. "Are you alright?" Toby stumbled over and sat by his father. He felt as if he was on idle and had no control over his actions. He was seeing everything he did, but it didn't register in his brain properly. He reached out to his father's arm, but his arm ended up getting slapped. His father turned to him abruptly and pushed his chair over with his foot. "Don't touch me, boy," he yelled. His mother stood up. "Alright, knock that off. That is the last thing we need." The days went by and things continued on as they were. Connie spent most of her time cleaning the house, and her rude husband spent most of his time ordering her around. It was just like how it used to be before the crash. Toby never really left his room. He would sit by his bed and tremble. His mind would wander, but his thoughts changed too fast to be remembered. He would pace around his small room like a caged animal or stare out the window. The unhealthy cycle continued. Connie continued to be pushed around by her husband, being way too submissive to him, and Toby remained in his room. Before he could think twice, he would begin to chew on his hands, tearing the flesh from his fingers. He would gnaw his hands until they bled. When his mother walked in on him while he was doing so, she reacted horribly. She rushed him downstairs and grabbed the first aid kit, wrapping his hands in bandages. Afterwards, she demanded that he wouldn't leave her side again. Toby isolated himself so much that he grew to hate being around others. His memory grew glitchy as well. He started missing memory of minutes, hours, days, and so on. He would begin talking nonsense about things completely unrelated to the conversations he would have. He'd go off about seeing things, sharks in the sink as he washed the dishes, hearing crickets in his pillow, and seeing ghosts outside his bedroom window. His mother grew so anxious about his mental health that she decided it would be good for him to talk to a professional about what he was feeling. Connie walked Toby into the building, holding his hand and guiding him in. She walked him up to the front desk and began talking to the lady who sat behind it. "Mrs. Rogers?" the lady asked. "Yes, that's me." Connie nodded. "We're here to see Dr. Oliver. I'm here with Toby Rogers." "Yes, right this way." The lady stood and led them down a long hallway. Toby looked at the framed artwork down the halls and tuned into the sound of the lady's high heels on the hardwood floor. She opened the door to a room with a table and 2 chairs. "If we can get him to sit in here for a few minutes, I'll get the doctor." She smiled and held the door open. Toby stumbled into the room and sat down at the table. He looked over at his mother and the lady before the door slowly shut behind them. He looked around the room before he held up his tightly bandaged hands and began to bite at the bandages to unwrap his hands. But he was interrupted as a door swung open and a young woman in a black and spotted dress with light blonde hair stepped in, holding a clipboard and a pen. "Toby?" she asked with a smile. Toby looked up at her and nodded. "Nice to meet you, Toby. My name is Dr. Oliver." She put her hand out for him to shake, but hesitantly pulled away when she noticed his bandaged hands. "Oh," she smiled nervously before clearing her throat and sitting in the chair across the table from him. "So I'm going to ask you a few questions. Try to answer them as honestly as possible, okay?" She placed her clipboard down on the table. Toby nodded slowly and held his restrained hands on his lap. "How old are you, Toby?" 17, he responded quietly. She wrote that down on the paper that was clipped to the clipboard. "What's your full name?" "Toby Aaron Rogers." "When is your birthday?" "April 28th. "Who is your immediate family?" Toby paused for a minute before answering her question. "My mom, my dad, and..." He stopped. "My sister." "I heard about your sister, dear. I'm really sorry." Her expression faded into a sad, pity-filled look. Toby nodded. "Do you remember anything from the crash, Toby?" Toby looked away from her. His mind went blank for a moment. He looked down at his lap, and in the surrounding area he heard a faint ringing sound. His eyes widened and he froze in place. "Toby?" the counselor asked. "Toby, are you listening?" Toby felt a shiver go down his spine until he froze once again and slowly looked out the little window through the door, where he saw it. A dark, featureless figure peering in at him. He stared, eyes widened, the ringing growing louder and louder until suddenly the loud voice of the counselor broke his trance. "Toby!" she yelled. Toby jumped and fell sideways out of his chair and backed up into the corner. Dr. Oliver stood up, holding her clipboard to her chest, a surprised look in her eyes. Toby met her eyes again, his breathing hitching as he twitched. That night, Toby laid in bed. His eyes were dazed as he stared straight up at the ceiling. He could feel himself begin to doze off when he heard the scattering footsteps down his hallway. He sat up and looked towards the doorway, his door wide open. There was no light. Everything was lit by the luminescent blue glow of the moon through his window, leaving a cold lighting. He stood up and slowly made his way towards the doorway, when suddenly the door, which previously was wide open, slammed in his face. He gasped and fell back. He was out of breath when he hit the ground, and he began breathing heavily, his eyes wide open. He waited for a few seconds before getting back on his feet. He reached out and grasped the cold door handle with his bandaged hand, and it creaked open. He looked out into the dark hallway and tiptoed out of his room. The window at the end of the hallway lit up the darkness with blue moonlight as he padded his way down. He could hear footsteps rustling around him, and faint giggling followed by the pitter-patter of small feet, which sounded like a child had run in front of him, giggling and running around. The hallway was a lot longer than he remembered. It seemed endless, like the ride home from the hospital. He heard the door creak in front of him. "Mom?" he called in a shaky voice. "Oh, guys, I'm getting spooked. I'm not gonna lie, I'm getting spooked. I'm getting very spooked. Gatekeeping is cringe. Slaughterman. He isolated himself so much that he grew a hatred towards being with others. Why am I being called out by a 12, 13-year-old creepypasta? Eating my dinner and I forgot this was a stream. What did you think? Did you think this was an audiobook? What happened? She's back. I'm back. What the fuck? Anyways, yarp. No, definitely a stream. Suddenly a door slammed behind him, and he jumped and turned around. Behind him, he heard a long, eerie groan that sounded like croak right in his ear. He turned around as fast as he could and was suddenly face to face with none other than his dead sister. Her eyes were clouded white, her skin pale, the right side of her jaw dangling there by tissue and muscle, glass protruding from her forehead, black blood leaking down her face. Her blonde hair pulled up in a ponytail as it always was, and she was wearing her gray t-shirt and athlete shorts, which were dirty and spotted with blood. Her legs were bent in ways they shouldn't be. She stood emitting a long croaking noise, only an inch away from Toby's face. Toby yelped and fell backwards. Ah! He started to crawl backward away from her, but he was unable to break the eye contact he held with her blank, dead eyes. He dragged himself backwards until he backed up into something. He stopped for a second. Everything was dead silent except for his heavy breathing and crying. He slowly looked up to meet the blank face of a tall, dark figure, the same figure that stood over him now. Behind the tall, dark mass were rows of children looking to range from 3 to 10 years old. Their eyes completely black and dark black blood leaked from their eye sockets. He screamed and stood up as fast as he could, only to be tripped by dark black tendrils that wrapped around his ankle. He fell straight on his stomach and got the wind knocked out of him. He tried to scream, but he couldn't make a sound. He wheezed out before it all went black. Toby woke up with a start. He screamed out and sat up as fast as he could, completely short of breath. He wheezed out and held his chest with his bandaged hands. It was just a dream. Just a dream. He lay back down on his bed and rolled over on his side. It felt like against weight had been lifted. The fuck? Had been lifted off his chest as he took in deep breaths. He stood up and padded over to his window. He saw nothing. Nobody was out there. No ghosts, no figures, nothing. He heard the rustling and coughing of his father outside the doorway. His door was closed. He walked over and opened it, looking out into the hallway once again. He padded down the hallway and into the kitchen, where he found his dad standing and having a smoke in their living room. Toby waited for a second and watched him from around the corner before a burning feeling started deep in his chest. Deep, boiling anger overtook him. He heard the little imaginary voices in his head. Do it, do it, do it, they chanted. He turned away and held his arms. He felt like he actually had control over himself, unlike he did for the past few weeks since he got home from the hospital. He actually had complete thoughts for just moments before the chanting of the little voices in his head clouded them. Kill him. He wasn't there. He wasn't there. Kill him. Kill him. He continued on. Toby trembled. No. No, he wasn't gonna do it. What, was he going crazy? No, he won't kill anyone. He can't. He hated his father, but there was no way he was going to kill him. That was it. The last thought he had before he fell into an idle state once again. The influence of the voices in his head was too much. He began to silently walk up behind his father. He reached over the counter to the knife in the case. He gripped it in his hand. He felt the sensation take over his chest. He let out a snicker. Do I have to do this laugh, bro? It's kind of embarrassing. Kind of embarrassing. I'm a VA, I should be doing this. Bro is fighting schizophrenia? I think so. Like a video of the pasta. Oh, wait, that's actually kind of a compliment. Silent Hill 2 found paper. One of my new favorite games. Sorry, that is one of my favorite IP. So creepy good. I want to play Silent Hill, I'm not gonna lie. Ever since I've deleted a few games off my laptop, if it's like a game that it's not too heavy on graphics, I can download it. I'm very happy. Guys, this is gonna be the last creepypasta for tonight, okay? Just making sure you guys know. I'm gonna drink some cranberry juice here. Alright. He began laughing so hard he had to gasp for breath. It's kind of funny. His father turned around abruptly before he felt a brute force shove him to the floor. He grunted as the air was knocked out of him. What? He looked up at the boy who stood over him, grasping the kitchen knife in his hand. Toby, what are you doing? He went to sit up and put his arms out in front of him in self-defense, but before he knew it, Toby was on top of him. He went to grab his neck, but his father reached out and blocked his hands by grabbing onto his wrist. Stop! Get off of me, you little fucker! He yelled, and with his other hand he threw an off-center punch towards Toby's shoulders, but it didn't stop. The look in Toby's eyes was not sane. It looked as if a demon had taken control of him. He yelled back and went to stab the knife into his father's chest, but his father blocked him and grabbed onto his wrist once again. He went to shove him back, but Toby kicked his feet out in front of him and landed a hard blow landed a hard blow straight to his father's face. His father recoiled and pulled his arms away to cuff his face, but Toby got back up and drove the knife straight into his shoulder. His father let out a loud cry and went to pull the knife out, but before he could, Toby threw his fist straight into his face. He began to pound his fists into his head, laughing and wheezing. He cracked his neck and grabbed the knife and ripped it out of his father's shoulder. He drove it deep into his dad's chest and repeatedly stabbed into his torso, blood spilling out and getting splattered everywhere. He didn't stop until his father's body went still. He threw the knife over to the side and leaned over his body, huffing and panting. He stared at his father's smashed-in face and sat there twitching until a loud scream broke the silence. He looked over to see his mother standing a few feet away, covering her mouth, tears streaming down her face. "Toby!" she screamed. "What did you do? Why did you do that?" she cried. "Why?" she screamed. Toby stood up and began to back away from his father's bloody corpse. He began to back out of the kitchen. He looked down at the blood-soaked bandages on his hands and looked up at his mother one last time before he turned and ran out of the house. He ran into the garage and slammed his hand against the control panel on the wall and pushed the button to open the garage door. Before he ran out, he noticed his father's hatchets, which had been hanging on the tool rack above a table full of jars filled to the brim with old rusted nails and screws. One of the hatchets was new. It had a bright orange handle and a shiny blade, and the other was old with a wooden handle and an old dull blade. He grabbed both and looked down at the table, and he saw a box of matches, and under the table was a red gasoline tank. He held both of the hatchets in one hand and grabbed the matches and gasoline before running out of the garage, down the driveway and up the street. He approached the street light that he could see out his window, he could see out his own bedroom window. He heard police sirens in the distance. He turned around and the red and blue flashing lights came rushing down the street. Toby stood for a second before he pulled open the cap on the gasoline tank and ran down the street, spilling gasoline all over the street after him. He turned and ran into the trees. He poured the last bit of gasoline out before he reached into his pocket and pulled out a match. He struck it against the box and immediately dropped it. In an instant, flames burst around him. The fire caught on the trees and bushes around him, and before he knew it, he was surrounded by fire. Silhouettes of police cars were visible through the flames as he backed away into the forest around him. He looked around, but his vision was blurred. His heart was pounding, and he closed his eyes for a moment. This was it. This was the end. Toby felt a hand on his shoulder. He opened his eyes and looked over to see a large white hand with long bony fingers resting on his shoulder. He followed the arm that was attached to the hand up to a dark, towering figure. The fuck is this? Is this fucking Slender Man? It appeared to be wearing a dark black suit, and its face was completely blank. It towered over Toby's small frame as it looked down on him, tendrils reaching out from its back. Before Toby knew it, his vision blurred and he heard the sound of ringing in his ears. Everything went blank. That was it. That was the end. That was how Toby Rogers died. A few weeks later, Connie sat in her sister's kitchen. His sister, Lori, sat next to her drinking a cup of coffee. About 3 weeks ago, Connie lost her husband and her son, and a few weeks before, she had lost her daughter to a car crash. Since then, she moved in with her sister. The police were keeping her busy. They had just finished cleaning up the case, and the story had been released 2 weeks ago. The focus of the world seemed to have shifted to completely new stories. Laurie switched the TV on to a news broadcast. On the TV, the news reporter began introducing the new headline. We have breaking news. Last night there have been reported the murder of 4 individuals. There are no suspects yet, but the victims were a group of middle school kids who had been out in the woods late last night. The kids had been... What the fuck does this say? Bludgeoned and stabbed to death. The investigators have discovered a weapon at the crime scene. It appears to be an old dull blade hatchet, as you can see here. The picture changed to show snapshots of the weapon exactly as it was left at the crime scene. Investigators have pulled the name of a possible suspect, Toby Rogers, a 17-year-old boy who stabbed his father to death a few weeks ago and tried to cover up his escape by setting a fire in the streets and forest area around the neighborhood. Although they believe the young boy had died in the fire, investigators suspect Rogers might still be alive due to the fact that his body was never found. What the fuck? Not be narrated or performed under any circumstance. Well, I'm gonna yeet the fucking rod for this then. So it is very heavy on graphics. You can run Silent Hill, I'm sure. The older version, at least. Bye bye, Pharaoh. Thank you so much for dropping by. The 3 so far have been great. Yeah, the remake is pretty tough on the PC. So she can play the classic version and get gamer girl points. Nagola, I'm unquestionably supporting Toby on this one. The father is a dick. Toby still needs help though. Yeah. I want to try classic, but gotta finish the remake first. Hey Ben, I want to hear a joke? No. Borrowing my uncle's PS1 games and playing Silent Hill super late at night and freaking myself out. Good old days. Well, it's not really a joke, more like a riddle. Fine. My uncle gave me his old Xbox and let me play Assassin's Creed back in the day. Not so fun fact. This story actually made a kid to kill a classmate saying that Slenderman told him to. What the fuck? What goes in hard and comes out? I don't know, Crystal. What goes in hard and comes out soft? Spaghetti? Okay. So that is the end of my stream, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I hope you're doing well, and I hope you had a great day. I hope you enjoyed the stream. That will be it. That will be all for today. Yeah, pretty fucked up, I know, but hey, this is the world we live in. Slenderman story, I remember that back in middle school. Yeah, I've read the Slenderman story in past Creepypasta streams. Bye, have a good day. Hold on, I'm probably gonna raid out to someone, if I can. Maybe? Oh, whoa, woo. Pookie leaves because I ruined her day. You did. I was having such a good day. I was having such a good stream for once. And then you had to go and make that joke and ruin it. You had to ruin my life. You have someone? I know, Crystal. I know you have a boyfriend. Do you want... Let me see who I have in my thing, at least. Someone that people might enjoy as well. That is. Because I don't want to read out to someone that no one's gonna enjoy. I mean, parade. Oh. I know Fridge started his fucking VTube studio. I don't know why he's not streaming. But, who are you? Oh. Oh, this person just, like, started streaming, like, 30 minutes ago. Around. Let's go raid this Scarecrow lady. She is also green and black, by the way. She is also green and black. I don't have anyone who would be able to put up with your chaotic ass. You have you. You put up with my chaotic ass. I'm not that chaotic. I'm literally just, like, normal. Like, I... Don't give me this much credit, bro. Like, oh my god, I'm gonna blush. I'm not dating you, am I? Why are you not? Date me? What the hell? I'm joking. You got me at Scarecrow Lady? Mm-hmm. Kick-ass man, don't be too spooked. I will try. Because I got a sugar daddy and... Alright. Shut up. Shut up. Sick of this shit. Anyways. Let's go raid Pretty Scarecrow Lady. Here's our raid message. She's also green and black VTuber, by the way. I think you guys will like her. Don't leave! I see people leaving. Don't fucking leave, bro. But thank you so much for dropping by, guys. I really enjoyed today, and I hope you guys enjoyed it as much as I did. And I will see you. When is our next stream? I will see you tomorrow with Coffin of Andy and Layla with Akashi, our beloved whatchamacallit, fucking grandpa car battery guy. And yeah. The creepypasta reading and DVD was rather enjoyable. I'm glad you enjoyed. Anyways, bye bye. Thank you so much for dropping by, everyone. Really appreciate it. Be nice. Be nice and respectful. Grand Black Scarecrow Lady. Bye bye. Right now. Okay, the Twitch raid has been created. So let me see if I can raid tomorrow. Tomorrow, yeah. Tomorrow.
Vampy cat. Oh, that's cute. I wish my shout out thing was working. Thank you for the redo, boo. How was your stream? Did you have fun?
Add redirect.
What were you streaming? I know my shadow thing.
Is there anyone I can redirect to?
Still tell me what you're streaming.
Okay, okay, stop. Stop, bro.
Just chatting stream.
Switch.
How's your stream move?
Let me see.
Oh, bitch, you have loot. More fucking high drops. It looks like coffee. What are you doing back here? What am I doing back here? Okay, guys, take a lunch break in peace. It looks more like you're cowering with.
Yeah, no one I can raid to, unfortunately.
From that giant gun yours.
I don't want anyone to send this to. No one is fucking streaming. Like, people that I want to raid to, they have their thing turned off. So I can't raid to them. I'm sorry. Anyways, thank you so much for dropping by, guys. Bye bye.